Look at your day so far. You probably woke up in a bed, in a room with electricity, checked a screen within the first 10 minutes, ate something processed, drank clean water from a tap without thinking about it, and traveled somewhere sitting down. You didn't think about any of that. It felt normal. It isn't. If you took every human alive on Earth right now, all 8 billion of us, and averaged them together, the resulting person would not resemble you in almost any measurable way. They wouldn't live where you live. They wouldn't eat what you eat. They wouldn't earn what you earn. They wouldn't believe what you believe. They probably wouldn't own a car, a washing machine, or the device you're watching this on. You are not the default human. You are, statistically, one of the strangest versions of a human being on Earth. And the person who is the default, the commonest possible human, lives a life so different from yours that most of what you consider ordinary would look, to them, like the life of a small percentage of humans they will never meet. Let's build that person, piece by piece. We'll start with the most basic question. Where do they live? The answer is Asia. Not America, not Europe, not Australia, Asia. Roughly 60% of every human alive today lives on that one continent. Nearly 1 in 5 people alive right now lives in either China or India specifically. So the commonest human is Asian. Statistically, they most likely live in South or East Asia. Now let's ask what they do. The commonest human is not a knowledge worker. They are not a professional. They do not sit at a desk. They work with their hands. The single most common occupation on Earth today is farming. Roughly 1 in every 4 working humans is directly involved in agriculture, either growing crops, raising livestock, or both. In many parts of the world, farming is still the way most of a family survives. This means the commonest human wakes up early, works outside for most of the day, and their income depends on weather, soil, and animals. They do not commute in a car. They walk or use a bike, a scooter, or public transit. The idea of owning a personal vehicle, one metal box that sits idle 95% of the day, is a rarity for most humans. Roughly 1 in 5 people on Earth lives in a household with a car. Which brings us to what they earn. This is the number that shocks Westerners the most. The median human income on Earth is somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 per year. Per year. Not per month, not per week. For roughly half of all humans alive, that is what they live on. Most of the world does not have a savings account. Most of the world does not have a credit card. Most of the world has never boarded an airplane. Roughly 80% of humans have never taken a single flight in their lives. The commonest human has almost certainly not left the country they were born in. Now let's ask what they eat. The commonest human's diet is dominated by 3 staple crops: rice, wheat, and maize. These 3 plants make up about half of all calories consumed by humanity every day. Meat is not a daily food. It is a treat, a celebration, a rare event. The average human eats less meat in a month than a typical American eats in a week. Their food is cooked over gas, wood, or biomass, not electricity. In many parts of the world, cooking is still done over open fire or simple stoves, fueled by whatever is locally available. Roughly 2.5 billion humans still cook this way. That's 1 out of every 3 people alive. What about their home? The commonest human's home is not a house. It's a small apartment or a modest single-story dwelling shared with multiple family members, often across 3 generations. Grandparents, parents, and children living under the same roof is not a memory of the past for most humans. It is still the current reality. Only a small percentage of humans live alone. The idea of a single adult renting their own space is, globally, a strange privilege of wealthier societies. Which brings us to belief. The commonest human is religious. Roughly 85% of humans alive today identify with a religion or spiritual practice. The largest single religion by adherents is Christianity, but the largest religious region is Asia, where Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam collectively shape the lives of billions. The non-religious portion of humanity is much smaller than most Western media portrays. Someone who identifies as fully secular, atheist, or spiritual but not religious is globally in the minority. Now let's ask what language they speak. The commonest first language on Earth is Mandarin Chinese, spoken as a native language by about 1 billion people. English, despite dominating global business and internet content, is the native language of a smaller portion of humanity than most people assume. The commonest human does not speak English natively. They almost certainly do not consume English language media. They have never watched most of the shows, movies, or news stories that shape English-speaking culture. Now let's look at their body. The commonest human is likely under 30 years old. The world's median age is close to 30 and dropping in some regions, rising in others. They are on average shorter than the typical Westerner. Their diet, healthcare, and childhood nutrition shape a body distinctly different from the average person in a wealthy nation. They likely do not own a treadmill, a gym membership, or fitness tracking devices. Their exercise is embedded in their work and daily life, walking miles a day, carrying loads, physical labor. They are, by almost every clinical measure, more physically active than the average person in a rich country. And yet, they will likely die younger from causes that wealthy nations solved decades ago. Now let's put all of this together. The commonest human alive on Earth right now is a young adult, most likely a woman, living in South or East Asia, in a multi-generational household with limited access to a personal vehicle. She works with her hands, often in agriculture or manufacturing. Her diet is largely plant-based, dominated by rice or wheat. She earns a fraction of what the average Western viewer earns. She has never left her country. She speaks a language most viewers of this video do not understand. She practices some form of religion. She has probably never met a person from more than a few hundred miles away from where she was born. She is, by every statistical measure, the default face of humanity in the year you are watching this video. And she looks, in almost every possible way, nothing like the person the internet has trained us to think of as normal. This isn't a criticism of anyone. It's a mirror. Because for the last few decades, most of us have been living inside a very narrow slice of the human experience, a slice curated by the algorithms, the search engines, the media, and the platforms that made us think we were the center of everything. We are not the center. We are the exception. The commonest human being alive today does not scroll through a phone in bed at midnight. They do not consume 5 hours of streaming content per day. They do not have a diet built around convenience. They do not live in single-generation isolation. They do not measure success in productivity metrics. They live inside the version of humanity that most humans have lived inside for most of history. And the version you are living in, the highly digital, highly individual, highly convenient, highly abstract version, is, historically speaking, a bubble. A bubble that has produced remarkable things, but also a bubble that has quietly convinced you that its way of living is the default, when it is anything but. So the next time you assume something about how the world is, remember that you are looking at it from inside one of the strangest, most privileged, most unusual perches any human has ever occupied. Most humans do not live like you. Most humans never will. And the commonest possible human, the actual majority of your species, is going about her day right now, thousands of miles away, doing something you have never done, eating something you have never tasted, believing something you have never considered, in a way that has been common for far longer than your entire way of life has existed. You are the outlier. She is the human, and she has never heard of you.